In today's video, I'm going to show you in a simple yet very practical way how you can take your company logo and turn it into unique mock-ups, promotional materials, and branded visuals that you can easily use later in presentations or marketing campaigns. This is a really cool alternative to the classic Photoshop workflow, which tends to be much more time-consuming and requires manually adjusting everything step by step. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more content like this. The very first thing we need to do is prepare a reference file with our logo. I open up Photoshop, switch the logo color from black to white, and then drop it on a black background so that the contrast is as strong as possible and the AI models can clearly detect the edges. Why this way? From my own experience, I know that a black logo on a white or light background often confuses generative models. The results come out fuzzy, the edges are messy, and sometimes the shape of the logo gets completely lost. When the logo is white on a black background, the output is much sharper, much clearer, and the results are consistently better. Now that the file is ready, I need a reference photo that will serve as a base for our mockup. Let's say I want to show a company hoodie with our logo. I head over to FreePic, run a quick search, and after browsing a bit, I find a solid photo that looks perfect for the example. Time to generate. Up until now, I've been using Flux Context, but honestly, the new Nano Banana model is on a completely different level. The quality is in another league. The realism, the details, the overall consistency are just way better. So if you have access to Artlist, I definitely recommend giving it a try. I load Nano Banana, drop in the prepared logo, drop in the hoodie photo, and write out a prompt. I don't overcomplicate it, just a clear, simple description of what should be transferred from which photo, where the logo should appear, and what kind of final effect I want. I click generate, wait for the result to render. And I have to say, this looks fantastic. The logo blends seamlessly into the fabric of the hoodie, the proportions are spot on, and overall it looks better than many professional Photoshop mockups I've seen. Let's try another example. This time I'm taking an office photo and want to place the logo on the floor. The idea is simple. I just tweak the prompt slightly so that the AI understands the surface to modify as the floor. I run the generation, wait a bit, and check the result. And honestly, it's not good. The logo looks awkward, it doesn't blend properly, and overall the composition just doesn't work. I tweak the prompt again, try another render, and yes, it's a little bit better, but still nowhere close to the quality of the hoodie example. So, in short, the hoodie came out excellent, but the office floor version looks mediocre at best. Alright, now let's try something different. This time I want to see how GPT performs with this task. Normally I use GPT for prompts, scripts, or brainstorming ideas, but now I'll test it as an image generation model. First I need a reference photo. I go back to FreePic and find a really nice shot of a model wearing a hat. I thought it was a great test case because the hat is a clear, distinctive object, so it'll be easy to judge whether the logo looks natural. I upload the logo, upload the reference, and type out the prompt carefully. Everything is explained clearly so the model knows exactly what to do. I hit generate, wait for the result, and disappointment. Instead of just placing the logo on the hat, GPT basically redrew the entire photo, turning it into an alternative version of the original picture. This is not a mock-up, this is just a modified image, and not what I was aiming for at all. And that's an important lesson here. GPT is not a good choice if you want to keep the original photo intact and simply add something onto it. For that, Flux Context or Nano Banana are much better suited because they actually work with the photo rather than overwrite it. Still, I didn't want to dismiss GPT entirely, so I gave it another chance with a different photo. This time I grabbed an image of a flag, again from FreePic, because it's a perfect test for textures and fabric folds. I load the flag photo, add the logo, and in the prompt I clearly state that the logo should look like a printed design, integrated with the folds of the fabric, not like a flat sticker placed on top. I start the generation, wait for it to finish, and this time, the result is amazing. The logo looks like it has always been part of the flag. It follows the creases, the shading is natural, the whole thing looks very realistic. So here we have two opposite cases. On the hat, GPT completely failed, but on the flag, it did an excellent job. The conclusion is pretty simple. GPT is highly unpredictable. For mockups where you need to preserve the original photo, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to experiment, sometimes it really can surprise you in a positive way. Next, I wanted to test Runway Gen-4 in image reference mode. I started with an office photo that had a laptop on the desk. My goal was to place our logo on the laptop lid making it look like a natural branding element. I wrote a simple prompt, very similar to the ones I'd been using before, and ran the generation. The result? By far the worst one so far. The logo was distorted, the photo had strange artifacts, and overall it looked completely broken. But I didn't give up. I tried again with another image, going back to the hoodie example from earlier. This time I wanted a close-up shot. I uploaded the hoodie photo, typed a simple prompt, and generated. And this time, the outcome was excellent. A really clean, sharp close-up that works perfectly as an end frame for a video. Finally, to wrap everything up, I switched over to MidJourney. For this, I used a custom prompt from a custom GPT I had set up specifically for Kling 2.1. Why Kling prompts? Because I've noticed they translate really well into MidJourney video and often deliver better, more dynamic results than standard prompts. So I run the generation with both versions of the photo, wait for the render, and get the outputs. Not all of them look perfect. Some are a bit weird and not entirely usable, but the overall movement, the dynamic feel, is really solid, and this can definitely be used as part of the final video. As the last step, I bring everything into Topaz Labs to improve quality. Here you can choose the settings you want: noise reduction, sharpness, or just a simple upscale. Personally, I recommend checking out my separate video on Topaz Labs, where I explain all the settings in detail and show how you can get the most out of this software. And that's it for today's video. We tested a bunch of different tools: Nano Banana on Artlist, GPT, Runway, MidJourney, and finally Topaz Labs. As you saw, each of them has its own strengths and weaknesses. Nano Banana is excellent for clothing mockups, GPT is inconsistent but sometimes surprising, Runway can go both ways depending on the case, and MidJourney with the right prompt can give you some really nice dynamic results. The key takeaway here is that there's no single perfect method. It really depends on the project, on what you're trying to achieve, and often the best results come from mixing tools and experimenting. Thanks for watching, and I hope these examples will help you with your own creative projects.